rug off the bench. The match. You watching that, Acho? Okay. Rodgers said about the offseason that he was very thankful for the opportunity to work on his mental health. He also used a proverb saying in part, quote, sometimes there's a lot of wisdom in silence. Oh, Acho, what's your reaction to Aaron Rodgers saying his focus is on mental health this offseason?
It makes me curious. It makes me very curious because, Aaron Rodgers, I don't like what you're doing here in the fact of you're leading us to water and hoping that we'll drink it. You're not giving us no water to drink. You're leading us there. And you hoping that we go take the sip ourselves. Aaron Rodgers, he didn't say he had mental health issues.
Right.
Aaron Rodgers just said, you know, this offseason has been really good for my mental health. He's hoping that we connect a couple dots. The dot of, well, he hasn't been at minicamp. And he's just saying this offseason has been good for his mental health. So he's hoping that we put the string between the two lines and say that, well, you know what? Because he's been off, now his mental health is better. But I am curious, and I don't like what Aaron Rodgers is doing for this reason. Aaron Rodgers, you were off for over 4 months, from January 24th roughly to May 24th, when OTAs were supposed to occur. That's 33% of the year, sir. Tend to your mental health. You have 4 months, 120 days to tend to your mental health. Do not make it appear that this extra off time by you not going to OTAs or a mandatory minicamp are what's limiting you and what's limiting and inhibiting your mental health. Don't do that, Aaron Rodgers. Mental health is far too serious for you to just sprinkle the word and the phrase out there and hope that we say, you know what? It's good you weren't at OTAs. You need to protect your mental health. You had 4 months to do so with no football activities. Now, America, what y'all don't know, off-season team activities, only 4 days out of the week. So you still got 3 days without any football. Of those 4 days out of the week, it's only roughly 5 hours a day. So you still got 19 hours of the 4 days you're working to focus on your mental health after the 4 months you had completely off. I don't like that he didn't say it with his chest. If you want to say, man, these OTAs have been great for me because I've been battling mental health stuff and I need OTAs and I need to take that time off so I can focus on my mental health, then say that.
Say that.
But don't just say, you know, this time's been really good and mental health is really important and hope that we draw the line.
Now, I'm going to preface everything I'm going to say with, I got a frog in my throat, and that frog got a little son that he ain't claiming, and then he got another one that's illegitimate. All right, let me get this out. I ain't like your take. I respect your take, though, because I think that's one way to tie this up. Let me tie it up a different way, and hopefully you like my take and respect it as well. When you're giving yourself mental reps, as they say in our sport, it's usually in lieu of attendance or participation, right? So coach is like, you got to get yourself better somehow, some way, all the time. Because if you're not getting better, you're getting worse. Well, Aaron Rodgers, I think right now is saying in lieu of being there as a participant and in lieu of my attendance, I'm getting these mental reps. Now, let's talk about why he's highlighting mental health. I think in our world, too often and too much, we only focus in on physical health. Think about how you're even introduced to physical health. I tell you how I was introduced to it. 5 years young, at 54th Street Elementary School, we had the Jesse Owens Olympics. And I was like, what's that? Now, I'm a little competitive little dude. What's that? Well, we're going to time how many jumping jacks you could do in a minute. Then we're going to time how many push-ups you could do, how many sit-ups you could do. Can you run around the track? What time is that? And then they're going to give out awards. And I was like, really? Cool. But you know what was most important about that? Wasn't the competition, wasn't the fact that I won and beat my grade level kindergartners, was the fact that I was introduced to building blocks of physical health. I get into a space where physical health means something. I get into a career where it's based on physical health largely. But it's also about physical wellness. You know what was lagging behind? Mental health. Mental wellness.
Of course.
What were my building blocks? Where were my jumping jacks in the 5th grade? No one taught me anything about that. Whether it's meditation and prayer, things of that nature in school, nah. Whatever you're going through, just endure it. And then physically, always try to flex those muscles, strengthen those muscles so they get stronger. But with mental health, you know what happens? Most people wait till they go through trauma, something bad, horrific. And then in the middle of that game, in the 3rd quarter of that game, in the middle of that traumatic play, all of a sudden, I need to work on my mental health. A little bit too late. Imagine not lifting weights and then getting into a game and try to move somebody.
Of course.
Not going to work. So I think Aaron Rodgers right now in scope is just saying, I'm not going to be there physically, but I'm going to be there mentally. And more importantly, I'm going to be cognizant of the things that make me the best version of me. So I think he was just highlighting that slice, not so much the well to water, then y'all going to sit there and starve.
Here's the only pushback.
Okay, let's go get it.
Typically, physical health and the lack thereof will pour into your mental health bucket. Right? Anything you endure physically, you have to, even if it's a lack of sleep, a physical response, a physical abuse, verbal abuse, like something you are enduring will pour into your mental health bucket. Even if you don't want to look at it based upon my words, we can look at Maslow's hierarchy of needs. What is first? First on Maslow's hierarchy of needs is physiological needs. You need to sleep and you need to eat. If you do not do those things, you will die. After that on Maslow's hierarchy of needs, now you get into the mental aspects of things. Respect, recognition, self-esteem, friendship, intimacy, all things that are mental. But what comes first on the hierarchy of needs? Physical. You need to eat, you need to drink, you need to sleep. All of those things are the most important things to human life. Imagine if in the middle of this show, we were like, hey, producers, I can't do it. I need to sleep. Huh? Yes, you need to sleep. But you also have 22 hours out of the day to sleep. You only got to work for these 2. So, yes, Aaron Rodgers, you need to take care of your mental health. All humans watching this show, tend to your mental health. Like you should eat, like you should drink, and like you should sleep. But you could never go to your employer. Aaron Rodgers couldn't go to his employers in the middle of a game. Hey, y'all, man. I gotta go eat. My bad. Just somebody back up. Jordan Love, take the snap. Gotta go eat real quick. No, because you understand there are a hierarchy of needs in life, starting with physical needs, then the imperative mental needs, which everybody needs to tend to, then self-actualization, just your own self-worth, all of those needs. But you also understand you work your needs around your obligations as well. Aaron Rodgers, don't sit here and try to act as though you can't handle your obligations because of your mental health needs, because you handle your physical needs around your obligations, and we know that your physical needs actually come first based upon living itself.
Interesting. Let's have some fun. Let's layer this. Take this onion and take it apart. You seem like you're taking it that he's using this. I told you I got that frog. He's using this of excuse a little bit to talk about his wants, contract, respect. I'm saying he's using it of reason because of his needs. He needs to still stay activated. He needs to still contribute to his greatness. First of all, this dude is great at what he does. You know how? He probably doesn't waste much time. He knows how to not only essentially, but efficiently get after playing the game of football. And that's more than just throwing the football, as we know, right? It's film study, it's mentally focusing, everything. So because he's greater than me at something I did as well, I'm going to assume that he is doing this at a higher genius, higher level than I even achieved and acquired. So I don't think it's of excuse. I think it's of reason. And it's based off of I need to still stay engaged in something that physically I'm not. I give it to you in story form. I remember I got hurt in San Diego, and this is when I'm at the top of the mountain, so ain't much you can say about me. I'm hurt, or I'm hurt, leave me alone. But as you said, when you're hurt, you still got needs. So I go to the Cheesecake Factory to have dinner, injured. Now, I wasn't by myself. Ooh, hey, girl. So I'm there at the Cheesecake Factory, injured, not doing anything physical, but still taking care of one of my needs, which is to damn eat. Do you know I got called out by some fans in the restaurant? Hey, Wiley, you're good enough to go to the mall and go to Cheesecake. You're good enough to play this Sunday. Buckle it up. I'm sitting there ignoring that. But that's the conversation I want to have. When you can't do one thing doesn't mean you can't do anything. Aaron Rodgers is like, look, physically I can't be there because of my wants. But I know I need to still be there in as much of my capacity as possible. So I'm going to work on my mental health so when it all engages and forms that Voltron, I am still Aaron Rodgers the Great.
That's fair, that's fair, that's fair. The problem is, Aaron Rodgers, it's a very inconvenient coincidence. A very inconvenient coincidence.
What, Friday night?
No, it's Aaron Rodgers, just last year, you were telling those in private that OTAs need to be eliminated. You flew in to the union reps meeting with the owners while y'all were negotiating the collective bargaining agreement, and the primary bartering chip you had was, we don't need OTAs. Well, of course, Aaron Rodgers, you're 15 years, 16 now at the time in the league. No, you don't need OTAs.
Yeah.
But that was your primary bartering chip. Nope, they didn't agree. They said, you know what, we're still going to have OTAs. Well, now all of a sudden, what does Aaron Rodgers miss this year? For the first time in a long time, maybe ever, he misses OTAs. Now, in the midst of missing OTAs, what does Aaron Rodgers now bring up? It's been really good to focus on my mental health. Aaron Rodgers, just say what you needed to say, big dog. You ain't want to go to OTAs. Because if you wanted to bring